What's going on, guys? Been a little bit since I did my last video, but I wanted to do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison on two different rollers. And I figured if I'm gonna go through the hassle and through the work of doing so, I'd take you guys along for the ride. There might be a couple of you that are out there that are considering buying a roller, trying to figure out if it's worth the investment, and if you decide to pull the trigger, which of the rollers that are out on the market is best for the results that you're looking to get. I know that was my concern when I initially pulled the trigger. Had a couple of highs, a couple of letdowns as far as what I've seen so far. So I figured I'd do this video in comparison of Ego's striping kit, which we can see right here, and Big League's kit that I actually picked up a couple of weeks ago. I'm excited to see what that type of result will be when I strap that guy on. I've been happy with the installation and the removal of Ego's kit. I will admit that's one of the biggest benefits that I knew came along with this kit when I picked it up. No tools required. You just throw it right on the back of your mower. Once you're done, you can pull it right off and you're ready to stow your mower away for next time around. Whereas Ego's kit, whereas Big League's kit, I know you actually need to bolt it onto the back of the mower. Requires a little bit more time, a little bit more effort. But I'm honestly hoping or thinking that because of the weight and the material difference of Big League's kit, I'm thinking that the results are going to be a little bit more noticeable than what I've seen with Ego's kit. I've been a little bit let down as far as the results go and how the stripes actually look on the grass. They're hardly noticeable, I won't lie. Could be maybe user error. I probably haven't been overlapping as much as I should, doing multiple cuts in the same direction. I'm going to be trying a couple of those differences this time around to see if my results are a little bit better. And then once I give this a couple of go-arounds for a few weeks, I'm going to switch it out and put the Big League's kit on there. I'm going to do the same thing, give it a couple of weeks, same direction, same exact pattern, so I can really burn those stripes in and see what results are better, to see if it's worth the extra hassle and extra money of picking up Big League's kit. Although I think that they're pretty close in comparison. This guy, when I picked it up, was right around $100, and with a couple of promos and Big League's phenomenal customer service, I was able to get their kit for a little bit over $100 as well. So it's pretty comparable. The mower that I'm using is Ego's LM2130 SP. Hardly ever use the self-propelled, but it does come in handy when you throw that roller on the back of it. I want to give you guys a little bit of the lay of the land, let you know what type of grass I'm working with, the height, the conditions of the weather, the conditions of the turf that I'm mowing, so that way it gives you a real good perspective as to what it is that we are dealing with this kit and this mower. All right, let's check out that lawn. All right, guys, so here's a look at my little lawn that I'll be cutting with the lawn roller this morning. Turf type tall fescue. I'm in zone 9B here in California. I usually maintain it right around 4 inches. I'll drop it maybe to 3.5 during the winter and spring months, depending on how much moisture, humidity we're getting in the area, just to make sure that I'm not promoting too much fungus. But right now it's right around 4 inches. We've gotten a lot of rain here in California this winter, so I haven't been able to maintain the exact same schedule that I would like to maintain, which is a Wednesday cut and then a more detailed cut on Saturdays. I cut it on Thursday this week, so we're 2 days removed from that last cut. But I just love Saturday cuts, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do, because I'm able to fine tune it, take my time, get it exactly the way that I want it with a little bit more attention to detail. So it's probably right around 4.5 inches right now since I cut it 2 days ago. I would have liked for it to have been a little bit longer to see if that impacted the stripes that I'm going to be laying with the Ego lawn roller, but it is what it is. I'm going to be going probably north and south with a little bit of a 45-degree angle. And my house is north facing, so the sun rises and sets behind it. I know that impacts the amount that the stripes are reflected pretty drastically based off of how that sun hits it. I'll probably be keeping that north and south 45-degree angle cut for the next few weeks. As mentioned, I want to make sure that I give it the best chance to really burn those stripes into the lawn, see if the results are any better with a little bit more of a specific pattern that I apply. So I'm going to give it that first cut, left to right, right to left, 45-degree angle. I'll come back and show you what that looks like before I drop that second cut. So here's the first cut, guys. As you can tell, these are the stripes that were going north and south in a little bit more of a east direction. Sun is pretty bright right now too, so I'm hoping that the stripes will be able to be reflected as clearly as is probably going to be the case throughout the day. Right here, I'm on the east side of the lawn. You can see it, but as I mentioned, I guess I thought it was going to pop a little bit more than it appears to be doing so. Right now I'm pointing the camera south in an east-south direction. This, I feel, is probably where they're the most noticeable. So maybe the results will be a little bit better for some of those of you that have a lawn facing in a different direction. You can see the diamond pattern, which is kind of cool, but it kind of gets lost when you pull back a little bit. This is after one cut, going left to right and then right to left. Let me show you from the other angle. There you go. Adds a bit of weight to the mower too. It was quite a bit of a workout. I am working with the 7.5 amp too, so I'm interested to see how well that holds up, basically considering the fact that I'm going to be doing 4 cuts on the same area to really try and burn those in. So let me get started on that second pass and I'll check back. All right, guys, so here is the result after the second go around. Again, still went left to right, right to left at about a 45-degree angle. It definitely pops a little bit more. I'll give them that. I'll show you the angle that I feel reflects the stripes the most, but it's not bad. I'll give you that. I mean, it did take eventually 4 passes together, so it's quite a bit of work, but the results are more noticeable than when you go once around left to right and right to left. So maybe that's the trick. Maybe it's just about training the grass a little bit more. This is the angle that I feel really reflects the stripes the best. You can really see that they're burned in quite a bit. Gives it a pretty cool pattern. It's just interesting the fact that when you're looking at it straight forward, you can see the indentions for the diamond pattern, but you can't really see the stripes as much. It's almost like you have to pick one or the other. Maybe if you try to do too many different directions, it probably loses some of its luster. So there you have it. Again, right around 60 degrees right now in California, turf type tall fescue. I cut it at about the highest setting, which, if I'm not mistaken, is right around 4 inches. We'll see what it looks like once I do the same pattern, same direction one more time next weekend. And then I'm thinking I'll switch over to the Big League lawn kit, give that 2 weeks of doing the exact same thing. Maybe I'll actually change direction, since it probably wouldn't be fair to go over the same stripes that the Ego striper has already indented into the lawn. So maybe I'll switch it up, give the new pattern 2 weeks of going over it twice as well, and we'll see which one wins. Stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so I figured that I would spare you a little bit of extra footage, and I just went right to the end result. This is after cutting the lawn twice in alternate directions, and what I did after the 2 initial cuts is I dropped the mower down to 3.5 inches, but I didn't run it, so it wasn't cutting the lawn. What it was basically hoping to do was to get it to a lower level, so that way the roller could do a little bit more of its thing. This is the end result. So this is basically, I'm pointing northbound, the south is behind me, so that gives you a little bit of an idea in regards to the sun being right behind me, which I'm sure helps the fact that it's having on the blade grasses, the blades of grass, sorry. So let's go around and I'll just give you a quick preview of what it is that it ended up looking like. They do pop, and so basically this is after a total of 8 times around. The first 4, as I indicated, I actually cut
last week, and the first two I cut today. The second two, it was just at a lower level with the roller doing its thing and hopefully pushing the blades a little bit further down than when they were set at a 4-inch height. They are noticeable quite a bit more, I will say that. It's a lot of work for the end result. I think it definitely takes a little bit of your breath pushing that thing around with the added weight and the resistance, but all in all, it's not bad. I'll probably be taking next weekend off since it's Easter weekend and just concentrating on an actual good cut, since I have to apply my second of 2 split applications of prodiamine now that the soil temperatures are starting to creep towards 65 degrees. So it'll still be a productive weekend, but won't be doing anything roller related. I'm thinking I'll just give it a good even cut, put my applications down, both the prodiamine and flagship, which are both going down, and I think the weekend after I'll throw the big league striping kit on there and we'll give it another go, see what the end result is. Check back then. Hey, what's up guys? So I am back after a week off. Took advantage of the Easter weekend to put down the second of my split apps of prodiamine. Got just a regular basic cut, no striping kit installed. Figured that I would get a little bit better product to soil contact by just leaving it as is. But now that we are back for week 3 of this experiment, I've got the big league kit strapped on. Installation was pretty easy. I'm excited with the quality of materials that Big League clearly put into this striping kit. I like the fact that these guys are encased in like a polyurethane or a rubber. It feels a lot more secure, a lot more durable, I should say, than the material that Ego's kit is made out of. No knock on Ego's, but I find it interesting that it's wrapped in like a metal or a steel, which going over this concrete when you're trying to switch directions and whatnot, it did not last long looking pretty. And I know that quality doesn't have anything to do with looks, but it'd be nice if it was a little bit more durable, I'll just say that. So I didn't do any striping last week. I just mowed as is. I did switch directions from the 90-degree angle. I took it at a east to west angle. I figured that I would take that direction when it comes to seeing how this kit does. Clippings that you see are because I already did my edging. I like to do my edging before I do the mowing, so that way I don't have to come back and figure out where those edges actually are in order to hit them and get that clean look at the end. So just giving you a little look-see of the lay of the land so that you see what it looks like before I hit it with the mower. I've had a couple of comments on some Facebook pages that indicate that the best look is when the sun's behind you, so you probably are better off having the stripes go north and south. Might give that a shot in a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll pull out both kits again and go north-south, sorry. See what that turns out like, but I'm excited to finally put this Big League kit to the test. It's been a couple of months in the making. We'll see what it looks like. I'll check back after the first cut. All right, and of course, just as scheduled, neighbor decided to mow his yard. Perfect. But here's the result after the first cut, east to west. Like I mentioned, they really pop when you're standing on the east side of the lawn facing west. Not so noticeable if you stand on the north side of the lawn, I'll tell you that. But this looks pretty darn good. The traction was fantastic. I didn't have any sort of resistance. I felt like I got into more resistance when I had the Ego kit on for some reason, which is interesting because the material is a lot sleeker and Big Leagues is heavier. I think they're right around 22 pounds for Big Leagues, whereas Ego's is right around 12 or 13. But maybe it's the material on the wheels. It was smooth sailing. It was a real clean ride. Very happy with these results. Looks really good, like I mentioned. I would go and try and see if it's the same on the east side of the street or west side of the street facing east, but like I mentioned, there's a lot of noise in that direction. I'm gonna give it another pass, same direction, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, guys, so here is after that second mow. I gotta tell you, I am very impressed. Granted, I will tell you that when you stand on the street so you're facing south, which probably most people will be doing, of course, they're not as noticeable. Right now, I am standing on the east side of the lawn facing west, and this is probably where they're the most noticeable, I will admit. But you know what? We do this stuff for ourselves anyways, right? Nobody else is going to appreciate it as much as we do. I think a couple of points that stand out the most is how fun it was to cut with Big Leagues kit as opposed to the Ego striping kit. I just felt that the mower got so bogged down with Ego's kit. Not sure if it has to do with the material of the roller itself, but I don't know. It glided over the grass a lot easier than Ego's kit does. And funny enough, I mentioned it to my wife, and she made a good point. She was like, well, you think about it, and it's probably like you're putting 4x4 tires on a compact car. It's gonna grip the grass a lot better than that smooth texture that Ego's kit is equipped with. I just felt that it felt more like a workout when you had Ego's kit on, as opposed to the Big Leagues kit, that it just chewed up the grass. It kept going. I noticed a lot less ruts, a lot less missed spots, probably because of the additional weight that it added to the mower. I'm very impressed. I'm going to follow the same pattern probably for the next couple of cuts, and then I'll wrap this thing up. But I think Big Leagues kit is going to be tough to beat. I'll check back next week. All right, guys, so here we are a couple of days later, finally wrapping up what's been about 4 to 5 weeks of a heck of an experiment. But this is the second week that I've been rolling my lawn with Big Leagues kit, and I got to tell you, the results are fantastic. I really love the way that the lines just pop right off of the grass. It was definitely much more noticeable than the look and appearance that I was getting with the Ego striping kit. And not just that, but as I mentioned, especially giving it a second go around, it just seems to glide much more effortlessly on the grass, as opposed to the resistance that I was getting when I had Ego's kit installed. And that's interesting because I think it's probably about 10 pounds heavier than the Ego striping kit, but for whatever reason it just seemed like I was getting a lot more resistance, especially with the turns, with some of those curves that I had to hit in order to get the lines to pop as much as I wanted them to. I found myself having to go over the same area maybe 2-3 times, and this is granted a double cut that I did apply, same direction. I went east to west. Right now I'm facing east with the sun starting to set, so it's my understanding that that probably will help with the stripes popping even more for the sake of this video. But overall, I am very happy, super happy with the results, and I think I have a pretty clear-cut winner. I will definitely be going forward sticking with Big Leagues kit. I might just use the Ego striping kit on my backup mower for the backyard. Don't really like to stripe the backyard very often, but I guess if we're having company or a get together, it might be worth dropping a couple of stripes and making it look crisp. Hopefully this tutorial, or not even tutorial, but hopefully this comparison video that I put together helps a couple of you guys that might be on the fence as to whether you should be picking up Ego's kit, Big Leagues kit, one or the other. At least as far as I'm concerned, the results definitely outweigh the slightly bigger hassle that you have to deal with when it comes to installing Big Leagues kit. Cheers.